Hello, today is Saturday, October 15th, making this the week 41 Brilliance update with your hostess Jennifer Vanderbeek of scrapsoflife.com. How are you? I am good, very good. I have had pretty busy. Uh, started with meal preps on Monday and rolled into a lot of work finishing up that granny square crocheted wrap for the shop. And that's done except for some weaving in some of the ends. Necessary evil of some projects is there's finishing work to do after the main bulk of the technique is so yeah, wrapping that up. um what else? I made some good headway on redesigning the covers for books 1 through 3, and I'm getting ready to dive into the cover art for book 4 as I wrap up those edits. And so not a lot to like show and present to you in this video so much, but I do feel a little more accomplished than I expected to necessarily with the what do I have to show? And of course I'm wearing my crocheted sweater. I think I've shown it on one of these videos before shortly after I finished it, but it's finally starting to get cool enough. At least in the mornings to wear it. In the afternoons it's still kind of warm. But hey, it's got ventilation. So it helps. Yeah, it's fine. I am looking forward to this coming week though, because the highs are supposed to be like in the 70s, like the mid 70s. Like, oh, this wonderful snuggly weather. That being said, I have a lot of work to do. As always, and I am really trying to wrap my head around everything. Um, I will say that about Tuesday night, I had a lovely little anxiety attack about the upcoming release of book 4 in my cozy, and what that did mean, what it didn't mean, what 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 pressures I was putting myself on or under for it, and kind of taking a deep look at where some of like the fears and like that push pull feeling that I've had a little bit. Book 4 has just been interesting. Part of it is the story concept itself had a lot of moving parts to it, a lot of things I was trying to accomplish in one book. And so getting them all together in a cohesive way, it took a while both to get started and to flesh it out. And it wasn't until I flew home that I figured out how to end it correctly. Um, yeah, and that was a different experience. First 3 books. But I also felt myself like dragging my feet and procrastinating with other projects instead of completing the edits, getting it to the beta readers, and moving forward. And I was like, why am I doing this? I finally asked myself, why am I doing this? And why am I dragging my feet? Why on? And I figured it out. It really did not take very long once I asked the question of myself. I was feeling a lot of pressure, and I'm doing different things book as far as when it goes live. There's going to actually be a bit of a promotional push, and this is that time where I try and get people's eyes on the series, whereas the first 3 books, they were, let's just get them written, get them available, make sure they're as good as they can be at this point. But we're not spending a lot of time promoting it, and so that promotion has, it's scary. It's scary. I had started my attempt to sensitize myself from the negative aspects of talking about what I do a couple weeks ago, and that's still going very well. I'm getting the occasional positive feedback about the videos that I'm putting on TikTok. I was like, hey, look, I did and I think it is helping. It's helping, but it's very low key, it's very unassuming, it's low risk as well. Just like a 3-minute video, if that. And there's nothing truly writing on it except for, my self-esteem issues. Minor detail. No. But they're so it's helping. But I was still struggling with not fully realizing until midweek what with the release of the fourth book, how important it was, and what it means for everything, and what it means not just for the potential for the series to continue as a focus instead of a sideline, um but also in terms of what it means for me when you know I've staked my identity on some of these projects. Whereas before they were just little sidelines. They didn't have to mean any more than I said they did. But now they mean a great deal because this is where my time goes. That whole thing. And yeah, it, uh, yeah, I had a little bit of an evening there where I was like, whoa, Hans. Yeah, that was fun. But that's also why I've been kind of wrapping up some other projects so that I can get them out of the way, literally get them out of the house, and be able to move forward with the book progress. So there's that. And then work is work. It is still fabulous. We are getting into our busy season. We're getting into our busy season now that it's fall and with the holidays coming up way quicker than I'm really fully prepared for. But even with that said, I'm trying to make myself a little bit more available for that just because of a number of practical reasons involving both the needs of the shop. If they need extra bodies, if they need extra people, then I want to be available. But also my budget and how much promotion I can afford to pay for. It's like that it all kind of rolls in together. Um, so yeah, that's a part of it. But also the shop is still this wonderful place where I can kind of recharge my creative batteries. I'm around people who are starting projects, finishing projects, learning new skills, other people new skills. I mean, it's just, and then, my coworkers are amazing people. So I really feel lucky that I have that place to be a few times a week. Where I do feel like I recharge my batteries, even if it drains like my social batteries. Like last Friday I didn't do a Twitch stream because I had been so busy at work that morning that I just felt absolutely drained and could not people anymore. It was like out of spoons. Spoons had been used up unexpectedly, and it was like, wow, I feel really accomplished for this. But now this thing that I was supposed to do or told myself I was going to do, yeah, I'm not going to be. So it's always a balancing act, always a juggling act, but yeah. So like when one thing kind of falls, the other lifts. Yeah. Sure. Today we had going on um that I really wanted to be more a part of, but the truth was I needed to, and I did the other thing. While I did the other thing, I I had to internally process what was going on in my brain because it was very easy for my little ADHD, anxiety ridden, um, you know, all the things that go into my brain's makeup and chemistry levels and all that fun stuff. very easy for it to say, "Oh, well, you don't get to do such and such because some lacking moral failure issue." And that's not it at all. So this week's thought on brilliance is less about what brilliance is and for the first time more of what it's not. Brilliance, not FOMO. We know that we know that saying or the acronym, right? The FOMO, fear of missing out. Sometimes we have to do one thing when we'd rather be doing another, or some things, sometimes we or hear about other people doing something and we're like, "Oh, I want to do that too." But for various reasons, various and sundry reasons, may not be able. And so then we get this feeling of being left out, of missing out, of unfair or unfortunate sacrifice, or all these cascading emotions based on being left out, left behind, included, um, or just not being able to share in this public event, public consciousness, or whatever it is. So while I felt a little FOMO today, I was able to recognize it for what it was. It's not that there was anything wrong with me or anything like that. There was nothing negative in myself, excuse me, that meant that I couldn't be as involved with one thing as I might have wanted to. First of all, it wasn't my baby. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't supposed to be my corner, you know? Um that's an important thing to know too because it's like we can't do everything, right? So we have to delegate. We have to accept that other people are going to need to do certain things because everything as much as we might want to and as much as sometimes the world seems to tell us we have to. So we have to be able to delegate. We have to accept that other people are going to do them and do them well. And in those moments, rather than saying, "Ugh, I didn't get to do it," it's really important to recognize that we weren't the person that needed to do. Somebody else needed, and they could have done an even better job, and it's even better for the outcome of the whole. It's not personal, you know. Yeah. So if we feel like, oh, I really want to be doing this, but I got to do this, whether it's I got to work on my book, so I can't go to this event that I want to go to because the time it would take away from, it happens to be at like this perfect time for, it's like where my brain's engaged and where I've got the energy to write. And yeah, it sucks that I'm going to miss this thing. I won't have those memories. And you know what? It's really important that I'm doing what I'm doing right now. So at work today, I really needed to be, there were tasks that I needed to do that supported a whole lot of things. And it meant that I didn't get to participate quite as much in this other thing that was going on. But the other thing was still going on when I was done, and everybody had a great time, and everything got done and got done in a way where all the needs were met. And that was really important. And it wasn't about me. And so maybe that's the thing. Maybe instead of FOMO, it's like be selfless. But no, I don't want to say that brilliance is selfless. I mean, sometimes it might be, but selfless as in altruistic, different than selfless as in I don't matter. But selfless sometimes, just like selfish, comes across as negative, where sometimes we have to be selfish. Selfish with our time because we have to guard it and use it to accomplish our goals, times above somebody else's. And so in this case, I don't want to say that brilliance is selfless, but I want to say that brilliance is not FOMO. Not the fear of missing out. It's recognizing where we are, where we're needed to be, other people really can handle and are maybe even better equipped to. And not to get our feelings hurt, not to not to let that tiny voice in the back of our head say, "Oh, well, you're not good enough or you're not this enough." It's like, no, you have talents that are better used here at this particular moment. Sometimes things are just going to overlap and you're not going to be able to do it. And so I had to kind of give myself a little bit of, I mean, it didn't take that long. I was like, oh, yeah, I see what's going on. That's not helpful. That's not serving me very well. And if I can put the kibosh on that, it's going to make the rest of the day a lot easier. And so that's what I did. But yeah, I had to give myself that talking to. I had to do that mental emotional self check-in and like why, it and head off any kind of weirdness before it got weird. Because we never want that to happen, because if anything's gonna take the fun out of a situation is getting weird about perceived slights when there was no slight intended and there was no slight at all. It's just, you know, other things needed my attention. Anyway, I hope that helps someone out there. I never know. I mean, I'm not I used to spend a lot of time as a kid, wanting to be thought that's what we need. I thought we needed and for individuals had to twist being of unique possible, special to be valued, important. And now I realize, I mean, and I realized for a long time that while there are things about us that are unique and special, it's our a lot of it has to do with our common experiences. Like, when they say no question is a question, like if you've got the question, somebody else probably has the question as well. If I have an experience, then chances are other people have had that experience. Um, and I am learning every day so many more things about the things I thought that were only me and not in a good way. Like nobody else, feels this way or nobody else experiences this, not in a selfish way, but I'm like, there's no way I can talk to someone about this because nobody else has gone through this. I mean, normal people don't feel like this. They haven't dealt with this. But there are a lot of people, normal or not, that's a whole different thing. That it's not, a unique thing. It's just like, hey, it's not just me, not only me. And knowing that there are other people going through those same thoughts and experiences is actually super comforting. Um, Whereas told that we're not special because we're not individual, unique something or others. We're unique combinations of things, ideas, and ability. Um, but on their own, those things are more common than we realize, and that was a bad thing. Fine, because well, if I'm just like everybody else, then I'm unnecessary. Um, but all the time I'm like, you'll see a meme and it'll be like, dude, wait, people are responding to this. They're reacting to this, and I'm like, I really did. I never consciously thought it, but you realize in that instance, like, wow, I thought that was just, I did not realize that that was so universal a concept, good, bad, or indifferent. All of these things are expressed and felt by other people. So if there's something that I deal with and I can share and it makes one other person feel like, "Oh, damn. I think I've been in that situation before and yeah, I didn't realize it wasn't just me." Then hey, I'm I'm happy to have been the one to say, "Yeah, no, me too," in that case. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope that's maybe if nothing else an interesting piece. There's levels into what goes into trying to create your life, your work life, for instance, in middle age and starting a new career late in life or in midlife. Yeah, that's all this is. This is just following along as I attempt to figure things out and make progress. Some weeks are better than others. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you checking in. Um, Take care of yourself. By all means, most important, take care of yourself. Have the bandwidth, the inclination, and the time, those around you. No matter what, never be afraid to show the world you're part of this. The world is better with you. All right, until next week. Bye.